Hello, so the last part of the code is basically getting the pulse width modulation. So we're looking at the code beforehand. Notice how up top percentage is 50. So we're going to put that to, we can put that to 10. Okay. Now basically going down the code, this is just a setup and all that. This is other stuff. Timer 0. So it turns out that port D was my port D and might be other people as well. It just wasn't working. So I connected it, this orange pin right here. This orange one, PB1, is the one that's basically connecting for the pulse width modulation. Okay, so looking at the code real quick, you're basically DDRB is being used, pin 1. This right here, pin 1, is going high and the original port B. The reason for this is because we were actually using port B, PB4 for an input for the optoisolator. So we want to keep that same port B, so we want to keep pin B4 still 1. So we're basically loading port B plus pin B1. So port B will be low, essentially. Now going up to here, well, port B1 will be high because of the pull-up resistor. So port B pin 4 will be high. Yeah, sorry. So OCROA is the duty. Duty is calculated up here. Duty is basically the percentage times 255. This is just for testing purposes. So it's times 255 divided by 100, and then typecast that to an integer. Typecast that. Okay, so from there, TC timer counter control register for 0. It's a prescaler of 8, and this is output compare mode. So this right here is the first of the wave generation bits, I believe, and this is for output compare mode. Time SQ SK0. We're setting 0 OCIEOA instead of the timer overflow flag, I believe. So this one is for comparing mode. Now that's 1, SCI right here gets to 1, and then basically we have the interrupt down here. Interrupt is a timer 0 compare. That's the vector that's associated. Timer 0 under dash compare under dash vect. Now duty, again, this 255 testing. So now 255 minus the duty. So the idea is, if you look at this piece of paper right here, real quick. So if we have a period of 10, then what we can do is we can set a pin. We can set the port B1, port B pin 1 low for an X amount of time, and then we can set it high for 10 minus X if that's the period. So it would be 255 minus X, and X would be the duty. So what we essentially do is you calculate the duty. So if it's 10%, 10% of 255 is 255. Is 25.5, and that I think rounds down to 25. So it would be 25 off, and then 255 minus 25 on. So what we do here so basically, if you look at that at the wave again, that's just essentially what it is, and that really, this is where the idea takes. Essentially, this is the idea. 255 minus the duty. So the duty cycle now is, if it was 25 before, it's 230 now. And basically you just set that as a new compare, so the new compare register value. Because before it was comparing to 25, so once it hit the 25 value, the interrupt was called, but now it's going to go all the way to 230. And then the next time it's called, it's going to be 255 minus 230, and it's going to go back to 225. So it just keeps oscillating like that. And then every single time this is called, port B becomes, you see port B right here. Remember pin 4 is being used for the as a pull-up resistor, because pin 4 port B is actually the input. So if we have an existing thing and we exclusive OR it, port B pin 4 was a 1. It's a 1 originally. Exclusive OR it with a 0, it still remains a 1. So that yeah, I think it's right here. So yeah, it's that one. So, basically, and then for pin 1 of port B, that's being used for this, for the wave, for pulse width modulation, and that's a 1, so we're exclusive ORing it. So if port B was originally a 0 in the pin 1 place, it becomes a 1, and if it's a 1, it becomes a 0. So that's really the code, and if you look up here, this was before with the 50% duty cycle. We can look at the wiring real quick. Going up to here, this is the pin. It goes all the way to the orange, and that's exactly where the resistor is, right before it enters. It's basically where it's supposed to be, and this is basically we're using an oscilloscope while it's hooked up. So what we're gonna do first is I'm gonna pause the video, and so I can do another video for this part. Oh, I think I should pause the video.